Welcome back. Today, I'm going to share with you a very important topic, and the word is called inflation. Why? Because tomorrow we're going to have the latest inflation data that's going to be published, and it's going to rock the market. There'll be so much volatility in the market. But today, I'm going to give you the number one tip of how do we predict the inflation data that will be released tomorrow. And I want to do it exactly one day before the fresh data will be published tomorrow about last month's inflation. And then you can check back versus today's video, what I share with you. Are there some grounds or some correlation that we can really nail down the true inflation data? I'm Dr. Clemen Chiang. I'm really happy to share with you about spiking nose because this is where we put together the best AI data to give you first-hand knowledge what is exactly happening in the marketplace. Today, I'm going to share with you about this latest article, and here we go. Inflation has peaked. And when I talk about inflation has peaked, but it's not returning to pre-COVID levels in 2023, MasterCard says, wow, what a what a big headline, right? And everyone is going to take a look at this report really seriously and very closely because MasterCard has a first pulse or tracking the pulse of the consumer spending in the marketplace. That's why I believe this is going to be kind of a big head turner for every one of us. And here we go. Inflation has already peaked, but you remain above pre-COVID levels in 2023. Now, we're going to understand what is pre-COVID levels. Inflation has also seen its peak this year, but it will still be above what we had been used to pre-pandemic next year. It will take a few years to return to the 2019 levels. Oh, this is really bad news, Brown, man. Because there are some numbers that we really need to track. So there's 2019 as well as the pre-COVID, that is 2020. All right, so that 2 years is kind of set the really minimum benchmark. And then I scroll down right over here. A few important key points that we need to note is this. It will take a few years to return to 2019 levels. We're going to take a look at 2019 and 2020 March, just before pandemic crashed in. We do expect that we go back down in the direction where we were back in 2019, where we were still debating how many countries needed negative interest rates. So, this is really deja vu. We are going back in time to understand back then we were still treading on a negative interest rates environment. Right now, we are first time in 40 years, we are trading on positive, very positive interest rates. And that's the reason why, I love this form of analysis. We can check back the past, present to predict the future. So we continue right over here. Central banks around the world have been hiking interest rates as recently as November in response to high inflation. So consequently, there are two steps. Step one, you have a rising high inflation. Typically, this is due to monetary policy. And when the Federal Reserve kind of got blindsided by inflation and they start using words like transitory inflation, this is the consequence of a high inflation, step one. Step two, in relation to a high inflation environment, the Fed has only one weapon left. That is to raise interest rates, to bring down the fiery inflation down to the pre-pandemic levels. But in this article, it says that next year we can't go back to the pre-pandemic levels of the inflation rate. We're going to look at some numbers in a short while, right? So today, which is on a Monday, we are exactly one day before inflation data that will be published tomorrow on Tuesday. We are exactly 2 days before Wednesday, where the Fed Fund or the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, will announce the fresh interest rates hike. So you can see the next 2 to 3 days is going to be nerve-wracking. And that's the reason why you can see right below there, we have the Christmas special COSY live trading taking place on Thursday and Friday. Right after the inflation data and the interest rates got published, we are going to really whack on the data and see how we're going to pan out for 2023 and 2024. All right. So let me continue right over here. And I really like it, love it when, they are using our brand name right here. Inflation has become that big challenge. It's been spiking. That's our brand name right there, and staying very high. But he warned that you'll be risky if central banks end up hiking rates more than they need to. Blindsided once, I hope they are not blindsided twice, and that's the topic of today's discussion. So let's come up to the last part about consumer spending. And this is presented by MasterCard. No other players other than Visa and MasterCard will have a closer pulse to the consumer spending. They are still willing to engage in discretionary spending in areas such as travel. There's a pent-up demand, lockdown too many years. People just can't wait to travel. And travel recovery in the US is strong, and people are still choosing to spend on experiences rather than material goods. Great. And they're frugal about their spending on necessities in order to be able to afford non-essential. Kind of a contrarian in the thinking of spending, right? But this is the new fad. And there's something in the back of people's mind that worries them that even though it's not very likely, it's still possible that those COVID restrictions will come back, and they can't wait to get out, to bypass those COVID restrictions and have a lifetime of experiences. So this is where we have a big topic called inflation, and we say, how do we predict the real data that's coming out tomorrow? I'm going to show you this website that's coming from US Bureau of Labor Statistics, all right? And this is really the latest, the true source of information that you should pursue in order to understand inflation rate. So at this moment, I'm going to kind of scroll down right here and come to this interesting chart, right? So you can see pre-pandemic, if we are talking about 2020, in January, inflation was only 2.5%. And before that, it's just floating around 2%. And that's the reason why Jerome Powell, Fed chair, wants to bring it down to 2%. But I'm going to look at the real numerical data right here. Boom. And, the article was saying that, hey, we got to go back to the 2021 inflation rate. And here we go. This is the whole of 2021. All right. 2019. One more time. Backtrack. 2019, before the pandemic. All right. So we go to 2019. This is January to December, floating at 2%. Now you understand how the heck the Fed came up with a target rate of inflation to stick below 2%. But MasterCard says it's not possible for 2023 for us to hit this level. Fair. Then we go down to 2020, starting from January 20, right over here. And the whole of 2020, we are still floating below 2% inflation rate. In fact, it's like almost like 0.1%. You can see in the month of May 2020, 0.1%. Now we move to 2021. This is the year where the Fed got blindsided. Here we go. This is 2021. The moment it starts to surpass 5%, that is the red flag right there. May 2021, all right? And once we spotted that, we say, okay, how do we predict the inflation data coming out tomorrow? So I'm going to kind of start from the highest peak, which is in June 2022, right there, 9.1%, all right? And then we say that, okay, we have already gone through like 4 months out into the future of June 2022, and we also take the 4 months back into the past of June 2022, right? So what I'm really looking at right now becomes very, very interesting, because I'm saying to you right now, as in now, if we go back 4 months back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we hit the 5th month, we are looking at 7.5%. All right? This must be the peak, 9.1%. We accepted that. So if we go past into the past 5 months, that's 7.5%. and we go forward from June 2022 forward by 5 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guess what? I'm predicting that tomorrow they'll announce at 7.5%. I think this is the easiest way to understand the data. I hope you like this sharing today. And please give me your comments right below on the YouTube. Let me know how you feel about today's sharing, because this is the practitioner approach to understanding inflation. And I hope you enjoy this session. But tomorrow, the truth will be unveiled, and let's see if there's a match on the data that I've just shared with you. Now, before I end off, I want to encourage you to go sign up and register at spiking.com/Xmas. That's coming out a big 2 days event this Thursday and Friday. Join me for 2 days. And if you like this form of analysis, we got plenty to cover on Thursday and Friday. And I hope to see you at the event. And with that in mind, I hope you fully enjoy this inflation discussion. And I shall see you at a Christmas special spiking COSY live trading event. Thank you and God bless. Goodbye.